That's an ordinance amending the 2025 budget ordinance to appropriate funds into the police budget, the fire rescue budget, the finance department budget, and the street maintenance budget, the park budget, and the water pollution control budget, and the sewer maintenance budget improvement fund, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, great. Great. Any questions, comments, concerns? Yes, Mr. Dutro.
Yes, thank you, Council President. If I may bring your attention to Ordinance 2593, this is entirely up to council. We had discussed during during department head this morning, and then the law director and I had discussed as well, whether or not adding a emergency to that ordinance might be worthwhile. A couple of quick things. One is, we're looking to have council have the opportunity to have 3 readings on that. I would advise that council do consider having that 3rd meeting in December. At this point, we don't have a budget to present to you for voting. We will need at least 3 meetings in December to make sure that we can get 3 readings on that. So with that said, more than likely, this amendment this ordinance will hopefully be read for the 3rd time and be ready for passage on the 2nd meeting of December, which would put us around mid-January that it would actually be in effect. So that probably aligns with the time that we'd be doing the project. Asking for emergency would just put us in a position where we could basically put this out to bid immediately after the new year. Are we going to be ready for that? Possible. Is it absolutely necessary? No, not necessary. So I'll let you all decide whether or not an emergency clause should be added to that. You just have to let the law director know if that's the intent to add an emergency. If it doesn't, we probably are okay with the timing as it is.
This is for 93, you're saying?
This is for correct 2593.
Maybe I'm misremembering that meeting, but I thought during the committee meeting that the intention was to add an emergency.
And that's why I brought it up this morning, because I did think that was the intention, but it's possible it just, there were a lot of things discussed at that meeting, so it may have just gotten left off.
Are you willing to add an emergency to that? Go ahead, Kyle.
Madam President, that was my next question. At what point do I need to bring that up for discussion, Bruce?
You could do it under motions. Okay. Any other business?
Could we 97 on that? What are we doing on that? I'm flipping right now. God, I'm here now.
Is there
I'm
some?
going to defer to the finance director for the question on ordinance 2025-97.
Okay. What was the question?
I think the question is just to kind of go over what the different
There's a lot going
items
on
are.
there.
Sure. Well, the first one is $250 donation to the police department from Tractor Supply Company Foundation. The $250 to the fire department for the donation from the Tractor Supply Company Foundation. And then the $50,000 is to the fire department again, and that is for repairs to our Seagrave fire engine. That is about 20 years old, and we're kind of repairing it and continuing that useful life of that asset. So that is the first one. That one is F2549. The second one is an appropriation for the insurance expense. And the reason we're asking for that is our annual liability insurance is due at this time, and it's increased by $26,000. Although we try to budget for that, we can't budget for rate increases. So that is why that is a little bit higher. And then along with that, we also have the cybersecurity policy that's going to be included with that. And that's new this year.
Is there any reason for that, like, big increase in the liability insurance?
I mean,
Go ahead.
it's just insurance, quite frankly. We do try to build in an increase every year on that. It was about a 15% increase this year, so pretty significant. And unfortunately, we can only be insured by so many providers. Basically going with PEP, which is the insurer that we use, which is a consortium, we get a pretty decent rate through them. But when you're talking about river walls and possible liabilities that come with, I hate to bring it up, but officer-involved shootings, those are very, very specialized. So it's just, unfortunately, it's just the situation when it comes to insurance that we fall under. That cybersecurity line as well, just to bring that up, we have been trying since Dale Thornton was city administrator to bring on a cybersecurity liability policy. It has been our intention to do so. Again, PEP is a great insurer, but they only provide me so much if we were to get hit with a cyber attack. So this was our way of, we were able to find an insurer that would provide us that coverage. That was not planned for necessarily in the budget. We didn't know what that cost was going to be. So that will be something that gets put into the budget in future years. But for this year, it was kind of a unforeseen expense that popped up.
Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, also the large number for the fire engine repair, that was unexpected, but it is an aging fire engine. And those repairs have already been done. We just need to proceed quickly so we can get those paid for.
Gotcha. Was it like the engine on it or like the ladder or something like that, or?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't have the fire chief's description here, but it was something to do with the,
I believe it was an engine repair on that.
I'd like to ask a quick question about that same one. So looking, unless I'm missing something, maybe, which is possible. There is a request to appropriate $17,000 into the finance department budget, and I'm just not seeing that as a line item listed in the ordinance.
Is that 97 that you're looking at?
97?
Scribble on the other page.
That's the first one that I have listed. Let me look at I didn't look at the ordinance. Let me look at that real quick.
Yeah, if I can,
Unless Zach has it.
the new total amount is the first line. The new total amount's correct. So it's, instead of the plus 5,500, that would be plus 17,000.
Under 5500?
Yeah, the first line.
Okay. Kevin, could you amend that when we get to it to make the amount 17,000 instead of 5,500?
Under the general fund or the?
Yeah, first line of the general fund is,
Okay, other services and expenses.
You got it?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great.
thank you.
I'll amend it during motions.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other items for committee of the whole? Okay. Seeing none, we are adjourned. Shoot. Oh, well.
This is the quietest I've ever heard this crew ever in my life.
Your committee assignment.
Yep. Hey. Sorry, that's Moppy.
We'll check the rest of it.
You available the 24th?
The Monday?
Yeah, 5:15.
Yeah.
Mr. Snape, are you available November 24th at 5:15?
November 24th.
A week from today? That'd be regarding the policy for the
Oh, no, I'm gonna miss a ribbon cutting, but yeah, I'm available. Yeah, 5:15 here. Okay, I didn't know if we was going on a side it or something like that, okay.
What committee meeting do you have at 5:15?
The law and community planning meeting for the cyber policy, are you available on Monday at 5:15?
How does that work
Can
in
be.
this situation?
Or I can.
What's that?
I mean.
The cybersecurity policy,
Yeah, I don't know why they changed
since
it
we're,
for this.
it's more private, right? We're not supposed to.
So they'll have the committee will start,
They have
go into executive session,
out at
talk
the
about it,
fairgrounds.
come out of
They wanna have a
executive
ribbon
session,
for-
vote on having the legislation.
I'm available any day that works for you.
Hey,
Those
Kevin,
days, that would be
when
great.
you make your amendment, can you also amend under 242?
Tuesday,
First number is 224.
John,
Wednesday?
That should be 242.
mayor's not available. Tuesday or Wednesday, work better for you.
And I just flipped it.
5:15.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
All happy days. Sorry, I had you do it. I had to do it.
Yeah,
Are you available Tuesday at 5:15?
yeah.
Then I just name off the
Take a look.
101 general fund, 242.
Thursday would also be
Yeah.
good, except it's Thanksgiving.
I'm available.
We don't have anything.
available too.
Okay.
I'm available. That'll get me out of cooking. You know, a good way to get out of Christmas presents for your family. Bring up politics on Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah,
The
exactly.
gift list goes way down.
I don't have to buy.
That's okay. I don't have to shop. I'm good with it.
Yeah, so I put them in
Mine's
numbers
the same way.
by budget.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of discussing.
250s are there.
We're all over the map, it's great. It depends on which side of the family.
155 into street
Then, of course, we always turn to my younger brother and look at him
500
like,
into parks and
yep,
Rec.
you voted.
Yeah, is that instead of?
Yeah, I voted a couple times.
Okay, all right, yeah,
500, this stays then.
No, no.
Having them changes, that should be 242 instead of 224.
I see it, okay, thanks. I think what I might do is bring this up on the
5:15 Tuesday?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you can just say it's assigned to streets and then bring it up, just like you would the other stuff.
Okay.
okay.
Yes, Thanksgiving is next week.
Reverend Jones almost ready here.
I like that nickname, the Reverend.
I used to have a friend that was called the Reverend. I had another friend that called himself the Rabbi.
Throw together.
He was a wackadoo.
Make shelter here that you don't always work, you can always make sure.
I'm thinking Mrs. Jones and I might be going to Hollywood Casino. Hey, Dennis, did Buster want to speak about something specific?
I could, who, what?
Did Buster want to speak
Along the
about
line of
something
very
specific?
learned.
You know?
Oh, no. You
Reverends
tried to get a hold of me, I'm on the Allen I report, not local one,
Dr. Bernard
out
Cook.
of Columbus, and we just did a bunch
I
of
mean, Ben was
grants.
supposed to do some of it, but
And,
I don't know what he
My
was
other
doing.
grandpa.
you know, they requested money,
He had
but
an honorary
anyways,
degree.
so,
To him yesterday.
but I don't know, he tried to get a hold of me just before that.
Philadelphia.
Usually I don't have three little boys.
I'll call the regular Tiffin City Council meeting of Monday, November 17th to order. The invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. Lord, thank you for this day. We ask that you guide our path today, and more specifically, our thoughts, words, and our actions. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Reesner.
Here.
Councilmember Snee.
Here.
Councilmember Thacker.
Here.
Councilmember Dougherty.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes.
Here.
And Councilmember Horniman.
Here.
Let the record show that 7 of 7 council members are present. Minutes from the November 3rd, 2025 regular and committee of the whole meetings were distributed. Are there any changes, substitutions, deletions, corrections? Okay, seeing none, the minutes will stand as presented. We're now under committee reports. Finance Committee, Councilor Reesner.
No report, Madam President.
Law and Community Planning, Councilor Doherty.
Yes, Madam President. A Law and Community Planning Committee meeting was held Monday, November 10th in council chambers immediately following the Streets, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee. The purpose of this meeting was discuss Mayor's request for legislations number 25-56, TIF for Progress Parkway, number 25-58, Labyrinth Project Bid, number 25-59, Animals at Large, and numbers 2560, the tax abatement for 680 West Market Street, and any other business that may come before this committee. Attending were council members Cheyenne Thacker, John Hayes, Aaron Jones, Kevin Reesner, Dennis Snee, and myself. Also in attendance were Mayor Wilkinson, Law Director Zach Fowler, and City Administrator Nick Dutro. This committee meeting started at 5:52 p.m. First, we started with Mayor's request for legislation 25-56, TIF for Progress Parkway. Mr. Dutro stated that a TIF is a tax increment financing, is a tax abatement that is placed on property and any further value that property has. A portion of that would be collected by the city, and the city would use those monies for future improvements on Progress Parkway. Mr. Dutro stated this plan for this TIF would be one of the main drivers for constructing the rest of Progress Parkway. Mr. Dutro stated the reason for this legislation is that the earlier we get this in, the sooner the city can start collecting these funds. This allows the city to capture the increase in the future property value as more growth is foreseen in the future on Progress Parkway. Councilman Snee made a motion for the city law director to draft legislation for number 25-56. Councilman Hayes seconded that motion. A vote was taken and passed 3-0. Next, we discussed Mayor's request for legislation 25-58, the Labyrinth Project Bid. Mr. Dutro started things off by reminding council that this legislation council has already passed previously. Mr. Dutro said an anonymous generous donor had gifted money to the city for construction of an overlook of the wetlands at Hedges Boyer Park. However, the city wasn't able to move forward with the project due to not receiving any bids for the project. Ideally, the city would like to have bids put out by the early months of 2006 with the hopes of having this project completed by the Heritage Festival of the same year. Bryce Kuhn of the Tiffin Parks and Recreation Department also spoke regarding this project. Mr. Kuhn wanted to say thank you to the donor for this project. He said this project will be a 50-foot radius with concrete flooring. Councilman Doherty asked Mr. Kuhn what exactly a labyrinth is, and Mr. Kuhn stated a labyrinth is basically a mind puzzle where you walk in with a cluttered mind, and as you exit the labyrinth, your mind is supposed to feel cleansed and rejuvenated. Mr. Kuhn further stated this project will be fully funded by this donor and will cost the city $0 for its construction. It was also stated this project will be handicap accessible. Councilman Jones stated he walked the future site with the donor and stated this would be a huge upgrade to Hedges Boyer Park. Councilman Hayes made a motion for the city law director to prepare legislation for 25-58. Councilman Doherty seconded that motion. A vote was taken and passed 3-0. We also discussed Mayor's request for legislation 25-60, the tax abatement for 680 West Market Street. Adam Gilmore informed council there was a press release last week stating this site will be hosting the return of the big lots at 680 West Market Street. Mr. Gilmore said Seneca County Collaborative, on behalf of Tiffin Westgate Limited, had requested a tax abatement on improvements at 680 West Market Street in order to support this project. This request is for a 12-year, 75% abatement on new construction. Mr. Gilmore said this project will include a roughly $1.795 million worth investment with an estimated 25 to 35 jobs created. Adam said roughly 40% of these jobs would be full-time with an estimated yearly payroll amount of $300,000. Mr. Dutro clarified this would be an abatement on the new taxes created by the increase in property value based on that investment. Councilman Doherty made a motion for the city law director to prepare legislation for 25-60. Councilman Snee seconded that motion. A vote was taken and passed 3-0. Lastly, we discussed Mayor's request for legislation 25-59, animals at large. Mayor stated that this issue arose from incidents that happened throughout 2024 and 2025. Mayor said there were roughly 5 incidences where dogs were loose and attacking other dogs or people. Some citizens spoke with the mayor and wanted to know what we could do to ensure future safety. Mayor Wilkinson stated he spoke with Police Chief Pauly about our current ordinances regarding enforcement. Through those discussions with the mayor and chief, it was determined it was difficult for police to enforce this law because the original ordinance said that the owner had to just keep their animal under reasonable control. It was a gray area as to what one might consider reasonable control and another may not, making enforcement of this ordinance subjective at times. Mayor Wilkinson gave an example of a person walking their dog with a leash attached, but their owner was not holding that leash. The dog ended up running from their owner and causing an incident. Mayor stated that what was initially thought to be under reasonable control turned out that it wasn't. Mayor stated the intention of this legislation was to make it clear to both Tiffin police officers and the citizens of Tiffin what exactly is considered reasonable control. Under the proposed amendment, no owner, keeper, or harbor of any dog shall permit it to go beyond the premises of the owner, keeper, or harbor at any time unless the dog is properly on a leash, cord, or tether of not more than 8 feet in length, which is controlled by a person of such age, size, and discretion that they are capable of preventing the dog from approaching any person or other animal in a menacing fashion except as provided in subsection C. Subsection C1 states the following. In a fenced dog park with designated off-leash areas, an owner, keeper, or harborer of any dog may permit their dog to be off-leash only within designated off-leash areas if their dog has demonstrated the ability to obey verbal commands and has not had at any time been classified as a dangerous dog or vicious dog. Subsection C2 states the following. No owner, keeper, or harborer of any dog that is off-leash in a designated off-leash area shall fail to maintain reasonable control of their dog or fail to ensure that their dog is within their view at all times. A first offense for violating this ordinance is a minor misdemeanor. Any subsequent offense would be charged as a minor misdemeanor, would be charged as a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. Council members ask that the city put something out to the public informing them of these upcoming changes regarding the city ordinance before it goes into effect. Councilman Doherty made a motion for the city law director to draft legislation for 25-59 and add an emergency to this. Councilman Snee seconded that motion. A vote was taken and passed 3-0. With no other business before this committee, the meeting was adjourned at 6:30 p.m. And that concludes my report, Madam President.
Thank you. We are now under materials and equipment. Councilmember Jones.
No report, Madam President.
Personnel and Labor Relations, Councilmember Hayes.
No report, Madam President.
Recreation and Public Property, Councilmember Snee.
No report, Madam President.
And Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers.
Yes.
Read that report.
Thank you, Madam President. A Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee meeting was held on November 10th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. in council chambers. Attending were committee members Cheyenne Thacker, Aaron Jones, Kevin Reesner, and Dennis Snee. Also attending were council members John Hayes, Kyle Daugherty, city engineer Matt Watson, city administrator Nick Dutro, law director Zachary Fowler, Mayor Lee Wilkinson, Corey Smaller, and Sandy Kohler on behalf of the Tiffin University, Lenny Klaus, and Adam Gilmore. Thacker called the meeting to order. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss Mayor's request for legislation 25-57, easements for the Tiffin Interceptor Upgrade Project, Tiffin University Alley Vacation Petitions 2025-01 through 04, and any other business that may be coming before them. Thacker read the responses from the department heads regarding the alley vacations. Watson's email stated the city engineer's office has been coordinating the proposed improvements on this site with Tiffin University and their consultants. The city engineer's office has no issues or concerns with the proposed vacations so long as easements are obtained for all existing sanitary sewers located within. Tiffin University and their consultants understand the location of all existing public sewers and the need for providing the city with easements. The city engineer's office will continue to be involved with the proposed project through their permitting process. The other department heads had no additional concerns. Sandy said TU is building 2 buildings with a connector that would run through the middle on the 3rd story, which would cross one of the current alleys. Additional purposes of the alley vacations are to create green space, parking, and improvements to the alley. Reesner asked about the power that is currently above ground. Sandy said they are working with the utility companies and the plan is to move all lines below ground. Reesner asked what the completion date would be for the project. Sandy stated they are hoping the south tower to be open and occupied August 2027 and the north tower 2028. TU is working on a parking plan with their security. This parking would be mostly for students residing in the building, but some may be used for retail space in the south building. Zach asked about the improvements to the alleyway. TU will be widening the alleyway to be 20 feet in order to let fire and rescue trucks to be able to make turns. Reesner moved to have the law director prepare legislation approving alley vacation petitions. Say that. We'll get through this. Snee seconded and the motion passed 4-0. Watson gave the committee information on mayor's request for legislation 25-57. Watson thinks there is a cost benefit to combine the main interceptor project and the Benner interceptor project to be called the Tiffin interceptor project upgrade project. There will be a new river crossing as part of the main interceptor project. Easements will be needed to be put in the new 24-inch spirons. Siphons. Yeah, we'll get there. We hired a firm to prepare an appraisal and negotiate offers for the easements necessary on the city's behalf. 3 easements have been agreed to so far. One of the easements would involve demoing and replacing an existing garage. The owners have waived a fee to relocate the existing personal property. Watson feels like the agreed upon amount of $81,131 is more than fair to compensate the owners for this purpose. The property owners will lose their access to their private parking during the construction project. The city has offered the owners places for temporary parking. Thacker suggested she would be in favor of suspending and adding an emergency. Watson noted how well the property owners worked with the city to make this project move forward without hesitation or negotiation. Watson asked for authority to enter into agreements with property owners to pay the property owners and to expend $90,000 into one of the sewer funds to cut checks to the property owners. Jones asked about the construction timeline. Watson will receive plans by December 1st, 2025. Bid date would be the first quarter. Construction would begin as early as next summer. Fowler commented that the project is funded through the WPCLF loan, which is a federal loan. The city has to comply with the requirement to provide just compensation to the property owners, which is why the city has paid for a consultant and the appraisals. Dutro commented that this is the most fiscally responsible way to do this project and as it is the most direct. Jones motioned to have the law director prepare legislation. Reasoner seconded the motion. The motion passed 4-0. With no further business, the committee adjourned at 5:51 p.m. And that is my report, Madam President.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, we are now under Economic Development and Downtown Planning. Councilmember Horniman.
No report, Madam President.
Okay, does anybody see the need to schedule a committee of the whole? Okay, we're under reports of the officers. His Honor, Mayor Lee Wilkinson.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of reminders first. We have leaf bag collection continues by the Public Works Department, so get those leaves raked up and bagged up in those clear plastic bags. Make sure they're not too heavy and don't put any non-leaf material in there. I haven't got mine raked up yet, so if you want to come over and do that this weekend, that would be great. Also, Perry Street west of Sandusky Street will be closed for one day only to rebuild a sewer manhole at Perry and Scott Street. So that's going to take place on Wednesday, so be aware of that if you frequently travel Perry Street to the west of Sandusky Street. And I had the privilege of going to Columbus. Well, actually, it wasn't Columbus. It was Dayton, wasn't it? Wright State University to watch the Calvert Girls Championship volleyball game for the state championship. And they had their final match against Monroeville and became the 2025 volleyball state champions. And to that end, I have a proclamation that I would like to offer for the volleyball team. So whereas the Calvert High School volleyball team has demonstrated exceptional dedication, talent, and sportsmanship throughout the 2025 season, achieving a perfect 29-0 undefeated record, showcasing remarkable consistency, teamwork, and competitive excellence. And whereas on the championship stage at the Nutter Center at Wright State University, the Calvert Senecas delivered a dominant performance, defeating Monroeville in a decisive 3-set sweep, 25-13, 25-9, and 25-11, to claim the 2025 Ohio High School Athletic Association Division 7 State Championship. And this victory marks the third state title in Calvert Volleyball's storied program history, further cementing the team's legacy of excellence and commitment to high achievement. And whereas the athletes, coaches, staff, and supporters of Calvert Volleyball have brought great pride to their school, to the city of Tiffin, and to the entire Seneca County community through their hard work, discipline, and unity of purpose. And the city of Tiffin celebrates the team's outstanding season, recognizing the positive examples these student athletes set for our youth throughout the community. Now, therefore, I, Lee Wilkinson, Mayor of the city of Tiffin, do hereby recognize this outstanding achievement and offer congratulations to the 2025 Calvert High School volleyball team on their Division 7 state championship, and encourage all residents to join me in honoring these exceptional athletes for their historic season and their commitment to excellence and the pride they bring to our community. So I'd like to present this proclamation. And maybe we could get all the girls to stand up and have a little picture.
Do it from here. Over there.
We'll kind of line up here. We can do it, let's do it up here? Up here, that way. We can.
You want us in the middle?
Yeah, let's do it in the middle here.
You guys.
We don't tell our secrets here.
This used to be the courtroom. You used to have to come in here for your tickets and come into the courtroom.
Out of the way.
We don't want to be in the picture. We're hiding out. It ain't about us.
Smart idea.
Mayor, would you like to join them? I would, yeah. I'll just lay down on the floor.
Can you lift them? You can stand on the books.
All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies. Okay. Yeah. I would also like to invite the coach and maybe a couple of the players to say a few words about their season and how things turned out.
Well, first, thank you very much for all the kind things that you said, recapping our season, and we appreciate you attending the games and all the support that people gave to us watching the games, and kind words. We felt it within the walls of Calvert, and we felt it outside the walls of Calvert throughout the city of Tiffin, so we're very grateful for that. We're a team of 19 girls made up of 3 seniors, 6 juniors, 6 sophomores, and 4 freshmen. So we started getting together in June and July, and player-led summer workouts, and scrimmages start in early August, and then game schedule starts in mid-August through the middle of October. So we battled our season that way, and then we started our tournament run in mid-October, leading us, as Mayor Wilkinson said, down to the Netter Center in November for the state championship game. So I'm proud. The first state championship with this group, it was like the first. It was really special, and I'm proud to be the head coach and to lead these girls and to represent my school and our city. So thank you for your support. We really do appreciate it. And then one of our captains, Claire, is going to say a couple words as well.
Good evening. On behalf of the Calvert volleyball players, I'd just like to thank you guys for your support throughout our season, specifically the police and fire truck escorts for our big games, and also lighting the courthouse blue. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Anyway, it was a joy to watch. It was fun. If you were not there, it was amazing. The other team, they had a pretty good showing with their crowd, and I think the Calvert crowd was bigger. The other crowd, they cheered at every little thing, but I think the Calvert crowd held it all in to the end, and then it exploded. So it was an amazing event. It really was. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have a couple other things. The good news continues. This past weekend, Operation Hallmark put on a fantastic Winter Wonderland event down at Oakley Park with the Sutton Bank Iceless Skating Rink. So that is open for the season now. But there were lots of people down there. I didn't get a count of the number of people down there, but I was down there Friday night, and there was lots of people, big crowds. And I heard the crowds were even bigger on Saturday, and they had a really good showing on Sunday as well. So congratulations to Operation Hallmark for that. And yesterday, if you missed it, on Sunday from 2 to 6, Bob Stein and GW's organized a community dinner at the Chandelier. And there were volunteers and donations from 21 Tiffin businesses and restaurants that contributed, and they served almost 300 people. And it's nice that they came together to kind of give back to the community, give back to the people who are feeling that pinch this time of year. So fulfilling a need, and the Tiffin community came together to do that. So I'm really proud. So that was very good. And that concludes my report.
Okay, great, thank you. I'd like to also extend my congratulations to all of you, especially right now. I feel like women's sports are starting to dominate more and more, and for you all to be such a great representation of our city and not just go out there, but truly dominate the other team. Really incredible, really exciting, and proud that you're part of Tiffin, so thank you. Any other comments for the mayor's report? Yes, Councilor Horniman.
Hello, everyone. I taught most of them when they were in 7th and 8th grade and stuff and everything. It's kind of one of those, I've talked with Coach, privately and stuff, and just coming from a background, and I don't know, the thing that I keep coming back to and what I said, I was like, you guys were already champions. Now you're legends. It's pretty cool. It's true. Congratulations.
Very good.
Okay. Moving on, we are now under Clerk of Council Ann Forrest.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Director of Finance Jill Lindhorst.
President. I have two requests for legislation tonight. The first one is F25-49. It's to amend the 2025 budget ordinance 24-94. For this one, we want to appropriate funds into the police and fire department budget. The breakdown on that is to appropriate $250 to the police department for a donation from the Tractor Supply Company Foundation. Another $250 to the fire department for a donation from the Tractor Supply Company Foundation, and a $50,000 appropriation to the fire department for repairs to a fire engine. The second one is request for legislation F25-50 to amend the 2025 budget ordinance 24-94. This is to appropriate funds into the insurance expense. The breakdown on that, and the reason we're requesting this, the request for legislation, is we have an increased insurance expenses this year, and we need to put some more money into the budget. So the breakdown on that is to the general fund, $17,000, to the street maintenance fund, $5,500, to Parks and Recreation, $500, and to the sewer department, $5,500, and the water pollution control department, $5,500. I also have the October 31st, 2025 finance report. Total receipts for the month was $4,609,450.26. Total expenses for the month was $4,640,000, I'm sorry, let me start that over. $4,640,115.92. The general fund unencumbered balance was $6,490,515.35. The income tax receipts for October 2025 were $1,014,888.70. The total increase in the income tax collections for October 2025 compared to October 2024 is $3,113.62. Year-to-date income tax receipts are up to 3.61%. The 0.25% portion of income tax receipts that was transferred into Fund 215 for public streets for October 2025 is $123,860.97. The portion of income tax receipts that was transferred into Fund 331 for capital improvements for October 2025 is $86,966.65. The unexpended balance for all funds is $44,218,816.21, which is the same as the bank balances for the same time period. That concludes my report.
Councilor Reesner.
Madam President, I move to accept the Finance Director's report and bank reconciliation month ending October 2025.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second, Councilor Horniman?
I'll second that motion, Madam President.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Law Director Zachary Fowler.
Thank you, Madam President. I do have a few things for you all. I just want to touch on some of the items that were in your packet. So first of all, the ordinance on vacating the alleys did get county tax map approval. So once the 3 readings go, that ordinance is ready. On both the TIF ordinance and the CRA ordinance, just wanted to touch on that. Both of those, there's a notice requirement to the affected school districts. So on those notices, they'll be coming from the mayor, but we'll be telling them that the ordinance will be up for vote on, I had just picked the second meeting in December. That'll be its 3rd reading, absent a special meeting. So, but in order to comply with the notices, giving them at least 14 days before you act on it, that's what will be on those. We'd like to get those out now after this meeting to give them time to look at both of those things. So when we go to do a special meeting on, say, the budgets, if that's what's going to be needed to be done, try and help me remember to keep the TIF and the CRA out of the special meeting so the timeline doesn't change. But that just gives them a chance to give feedback on, since they're tax abatements. So I just wanted to touch on those few things. And then finally, the cybersecurity policy. I know that's in the mayor's request for legislation, and I sent you all a little information on it. But it's just kind of a reminder, just so you understand the process. The plan itself is not a public record. So when there's questions about it, I'm sure both the committee and at council, you all will want to understand what that plan is, what that program looks like. That'll be done in executive session. The actual voting on, it'll probably just be a resolution to approve it or to authorize approval of it. Any of your voting will be done back in the regular meeting. So for law and community, for example, we'll meet, you'll make a motion to go into executive session, then have the discussion about the actual program itself in that, and then come back out and then vote to have legislation drafted as an example. But if you have any questions about it, let me know. You'll have union agreements coming up too, and those are typically discussed in executive session as well. So we'll probably be doing the same thing for that. And that's all I have. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I do have a question about executive session with the cyber policy, just in the context of getting information and asking questions. If there are people who can't go to whatever meeting that law and community planning decides on, will we also have to do an executive session to go over that for any questions? Or how would you like to do that process?
Great question. I guess, are you just asking about, I guess if you have questions for like city administration about the program?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. It's just as a body, when we're discussing the program itself, that would be done in executive session.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions or comments or concerns for the law director? Okay. We are now under written communications.
We have mayor's request for legislation number 25-61, cyber policy.
Mayor's request for legislation number 25-61 is assigned to the Law and Community Planning Committee.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F25-49 to amend the 2025 budget ordinance 24-94 to appropriate funds into the police and fire departments.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F25-49 has been prepared for tonight's meeting as ordinance 25-97.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F25-50 to amend the 2025 budget ordinance 24-94 to appropriate funds into the insurance expense.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F25-50 has been prepared for tonight's meeting as ordinance 25-97.
And we have a letter from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, a notice to legislative authorities regarding any objections to renewal of a retail liquor permit.
This will be assigned to Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee.
And that concludes the written communications.
Okay, we are now under oral communications. Anyone wishing to address council may step up to the podium, sign in, and address your comments or questions to myself.
Good evening. Sign in up here.
That would be great. And then once you sign in, if you could give us your name.
Should have brought my glasses. Do you need address and everything? Is that?
That would be great.
Okay. My name's Adam Smith. I'm here on behalf of Calvert Catholic Schools as the athletic director, and we're in the midst of a project down at the our present field house, the Paul Malloy Field House, which is on Charlotte Street. So my question would be, Charlotte Street, right prior to that is 3rd Street, which would be heading southbound, right? So this past junior high and JV football season, we had almost 3 incidents where cars are driving down 3rd Street, quarterback's throwing a ball into the end zone, kid almost gets hit because the car is driving by and our end zone's literally maybe a yard from the road. So my question is, what would be the process potentially to shut 3rd Street down at Russell Street and then to the resident on, I think the residency is on 3rd Street. It would be the one house on 3rd Street. So it would be in theory approximately 53 yards, which is a football field, shutting that area off. So it's just a posed question to City Council here.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I'm going to punt this over to the law director.
Adam,
I caught your punt.
Thank you.
That was good.
Adam, I understand your concerns. I guess as far as shutting it down, there's a couple of options. One is sort of administratively, the city administrator can take some action to control the street. But I think the overall problem is we don't allow just sort of dead ends under the code anymore. So in theory, we'd be looking to turn part of 3rd Street there because we got to give that house access. So at some point past that, we'd have to almost turn it into a cul-de-sac, which requires getting some land in order to have enough right away to do that. So that might be hard to accomplish. But I don't know if you've talked with the city administrator, if you're going to meet with their traffic safety council, there might just be other creative ways to address it other than trying to vacate a portion of the
Yeah, I was just curious on that option, and maybe it's during the game that could be a temporary fix or something of that nature, so.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. So Adam, the Traffic Safety Committee will be meeting here next week I know it's getting close to Turkey Day, but the 26th.
Please not Thursday.
Not Thursday, no. 26th at 9:30 a.m. We'll have a meeting. That meeting typically involves myself, the police chief, the fire chief, city engineer, and the head of public works. So those are all the, not necessarily myself, but all the important people that need to be there for that discussion. And they may very well come out of that meeting and say, hey, the best way to do it is that we basically do an event permit every time and we'll shut the street down. And I think that's just as easy as anything else, but something we can discuss more during that meeting.
Okay.
So that's 9:30 next week.
9:30 here.
Here, in this room, yep.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Mr.
bringing
Smith.
this.
Yes, it was good. Appreciate you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to address council? Okay. Same instructions, please sign in, introduce yourself.
Good evening, Council President. I just wanted to let Council know that this past week, Tiffin University students, with the help of several different organizations on campus, had raised over 650 non-perishable items, over 500 food items, and over 100 different toiletries that went to today the Salvation Army of Tiffin to help those in our local community in need. The mayor a little bit ago talked about how there was, 21 different businesses just this past weekend that ended up giving back to the community. And because of that, I really wanted to make sure that we express something that Tiffin University is doing, and we're hoping to do more collaborations with our organizations on campus to give back to the community that's given so much to us students on campus. Thank you.
That's great, thank you so much. Any other questions, comments from council? Great, thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, anybody else wishing to address council? Okay, we're now under motions. Yes, Councilor Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to amend ordinance 2025-97 with the following edits. So under 101 General Fund, instead of saying 5,500 under the other services and expenses, to have it say 17,000, and then under 242 Park and Recreation, and have that the account number adjusted from 224 to 242.
Okay. Is there a second? Councilor Hayes?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Was it 17,000 or 17,500?
It's 17,000.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Any other motions? Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. I would ask that the law director add an emergency to mayor's request for legislation number 25-93. That is regarding the Labyrinth project bid. We will still have our 3 readings. I'm just asking that an emergency be added to that, please.
Okay. There's a motion. Is there a second? Yes.
I second that motion, Madam President.
Okay. Councilor Jones. Any discussion? Yes, Councilor Horniman.
Just for clarification, it's ordinance. I think he said mayor's request 2593. It's ordinance.
Yes, I believe that was the intention, right?
Yes.
I knew what he meant. It was just, you talked about the mayor's request in your report.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, we have motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes 7-0. Any other motions this evening? Okay. We are now under resolutions and ordinances.
There are no resolutions this evening. We have ordinance number 2025-85, introduced by Cheyenne Thacker. An ordinance to approve the continuation of the City of Tiffin's designated outdoor refreshment area, DORA.
Okay, this is the third reading of ordinance 2025-85. Councilor Reesner?
Thank you, Madam President. I move for passage of ordinance 2025-85.
Okay, and a second, Councilor Hornman?
I'll second that motion, Madam President.
Is there any discussion? Oh, yes, go ahead, Councilor Hornman.
Yeah, this is the renewal of the designated outdoor refreshment area, the DORA and such. And, based on the feedback and such in the committee hearings, honestly, I would say the program and the thing is, it's working very, very well based on the feedback from especially the chiefs and the mayor and the city administrator looking for, any problems. And I would say we have none that have been reported or anything. So I think it's a great success. So.
Okay, great. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner?
Yes.
Snee?
Yes.
Thacker?
Yes.
Dougherty?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-85 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 2025-87, introduced by Cheyenne Thacker. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept permanent stormwater easements from various property owners in the city of Tiffin.
This is the second reading of ordinance 2025-87.
Ordinance number 2025-88, introduced by Cheyenne Thacker, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, recommend and execute a contract for the 2026 street paving program and city lot number 4 improvements.
This is the second reading of ordinance 2025-88.
Ordinance number 2025-89, introduced by Dennis Snee, an ordinance authorizing the sale of municipal real property located at the intersection of State Route 224 and Fair Lane to Trilogy Real Estate Tiffin, LLC, and authorizing the mayor to accept easements from Trilogy Real Estate Tiffin, LLC.
This is the second reading of ordinance 2025-89.
Ordinance number 2025-91, introduced by Kyle Dougherty. An ordinance declaring improvements to a certain parcel of real property to be a public purpose, describing the public improvements to be made to directly benefit such parcel, requiring the owner of the improvements on such parcel to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such service payments, approving the compensation agreement with Hopewell Loudon Local School District and related authorizations pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Sections 5709.40, 5909.42, and 5709.43, and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-91.
Ordinance number 2025-92, introduced by Cheyenne Thacker, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept temporary and permanent easements from certain property owners on Jefferson Street, Water Street, and North Washington Street, and take all actions necessary to acquire those easement rights for the Interceptor Upgrade Project, amending the 2025 budget ordinance 24-94 to appropriate funds into the Combined Sewer Separation Fund and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-92. Councilor Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for immediate passage of ordinance 2025-92, suspending city council's reading rule.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Councilor Jones?
I second that motion, Madam President.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'll offer up some. We have to get these 5 different temporary and permanent easements to take care of our very large and very expensive sewer projects. Any other discussion? Great. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the suspension.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
The suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the emergency.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
The emergency passes with a vote of 7-0. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the passage of this ordinance.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-92 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Amended ordinance number 2025-93, introduced by Kyle Dougherty, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, recommend and execute a contract for the construction of the Labyrinth project at Hedges Boyer Park.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-93.
Ordinance number 2025-94, introduced by Kyle Dougherty, an ordinance amending section 505.01 of the codified ordinances to require dogs to be on a leash and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-94.
Ordinance number 2025-95, introduced by Kyle Dougherty, an ordinance approving the agreement between the City of Tiffin and Tiffin Westgate Limited, the real property owner of 680 West Market Street, Tiffin, Ohio, for the abatement of certain real property taxes for 12 years and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-95.
Ordinance number 2025-96, introduced by Cheyenne Thacker, an ordinance responding to petition numbers 2025-01 through 2025-04, vacating 2 alleys off of Jackson Street, running east-west between Fairview Avenue and Jackson Street, an alley running east-west between Jackson Street and South Sandusky Street, and an alley running north-south between Clay Street, and an alley running east-west between Jackson Street and South Sandusky Street, all in Hemmings resurvey in the 3rd Ward of the City of Tiffin, Ohio.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2025-96.
Amended ordinance number 2025-97, introduced by Kevin Reesner, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget ordinance 24-94 to appropriate funds into the police budget, fire rescue budget, finance department budget, street maintenance budget, park and recreation budget, WPCC budget, and sewer maintenance budget.
This is the first reading of amended ordinance 2025-97. Councilor Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for immediate passage of amended ordinance 2025-97, suspending City Council's 3-reading rule.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Councilor Hayes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilor Reesner.
Yeah, from a high level, this is, covers a variety of account changes dealing with insurance expense increases, some donations to the police and fire departments, and we appreciate the donors for that. And the fire engine repairs recently so that they can get paid.
Okay, great. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Horniman?
Yeah, just for like the public benefit and stuff like that, like our liability insurance for the city is going up substantially. And also implementing the cybersecurity policy, which is going to be law for us to do also, is an expense to bring it up, but we'll have it all set for that. You know, I'm big on the suspensions and stuff like that, but you know, when you're talking about the fire engine and you're talking about some liability policy for the city and cybersecurity and stuff like that, I'm voting for it.
Okay, great. Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the suspension first.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
The suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the passage.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Thacker.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
Okay, amended ordinance 2025-97 passes with a vote of 7-0. I'd like to move into other business at this time. One of those items is Ohio Division of Liquor Control notice to legislative authorities. Law Director Fowler sent us some information about what this means for the general benefit of the whole. Could you please give us an abridged version of that?
Sure. I don't think it was all that long of an email, no, so this is kind of your annual notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor. Your retail establishments, your local bars, restaurants, grocery stores that have those C&D permits, they are up in February. Under the statute I put in the email, you have the ability to kind of weigh in and say, hey, if there's a problem liquor permit holder, and there's certain legal things that we have to say about it, but if there were those, we could provide that in writing to the Division of Liquor for them to consider in their renewal. I checked with the police chief. He didn't have any input to give. They didn't have any issues. I'm not aware of any through our office. So sounds like there's really nobody that we have legal grounds to take issue with.
Aside from that, are there any concerns from that committee from Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers?
No.
Okay. No. I have no concerns either. So is the appropriate response, do we have to send a response, or is it the kind of thing that if we send a response, we have to send it by a certain time?
That's correct, yeah. No response is just fine.
Okay. So if we're all okay with that, then I will just have that live on file at the clerk's office. Great. Okay, any other? Yes, Councilmember Doherty.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to announce a Law and Community Planning Committee meeting on November 25th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. at City Council chambers to discuss mayor's request for legislation 25-61 regarding the cyber policy and any other business that may come before this committee.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then any other business? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Council President. If I may, I did make a mention of it during the Committee of the Whole. It would probably be benefit City Council, and I think administration would ask that we schedule a special meeting for the second Monday in December, if that is at all possible, or sometime in that area, so that we can have a third, or so we can make sure we're on track with doing 3 readings of the budget. The mayor's intention is to have that available for our first reading at the first meeting of December, but we would need at least one extra special meeting so that we could, one additional meeting so that we could pass that with 3 readings.
Is that December 8th date still open for everybody here?
No, not.
Not for you, but we knew about this, right?
Right.
Correct.
I mentioned it before.
Right. Anybody else unable to meet? If we met earlier that evening, like 5:30, would that be an acceptable time for everybody?
Okay, I think we got Are we locking it in right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
We're locking it in.
Yes,
So
Law Director.
if I may, because it's a special meeting, you have to give a notice of the purpose. You're probably actually going to want to announce it at the next meeting because we don't have the actual legislations introduced yet.
Okay.
So it's okay for everyone to kind of pre-agree on the time, but the actual announcement will come the next meeting. But the alley vacation ordinance, there should be an announcement of a public hearing for that, for the.
The second meeting?
Yes.
So December 1st?
Correct.
Okay. Then at this time, I would like to announce a special, I'm sorry, a public
hearing.
Goodness, now we have a special in all of the,
They're all special.
notice for a public hearing on December 1st, immediately following roll call. The purpose of that is to discuss ordinance 2025-96, the alley vacations for petition numbers 2025-01 through 2025-04. Anything else for the good of this committee?
If I may, Madam President, a question on the day of the meeting. for long community planning. Is that Monday or Tuesday? that you want?
That's
It is a Tuesday? I thought?
Tuesday, the 25th.
Okay, I didn't know if it'd been
At
changed.
5:15 PM.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else? Councilor Hornman?
Have we had, as a city, like any correspondence or anything, like concerning the chicken farm that's going in or anything? I mean, I know they're building a bunch out there and stuff and everything, and, you know, we passed a resolution asking for information and updates, and I've heard from people that live out there and such, but we haven't heard.
Yes, Mayor.
I've gotten a couple of phone calls from some of the residents out on County Road 90, letting me know that they have been drilling wells, and they're just giving me progress updates, not a lot of detail. Someone has checked with the Department of Agriculture and the EPA just to make sure that their well drilling is permitted and following all of the regulations that go along with that.
Okay.
I know
Yes,
it's
Councilor Horniman, sorry.
currently in like an appeal process. Is there anything that we can provide or do anything through that appeal process? Do we know or anything? Like, they just re-reviewing the documents that they had prior or something like that?
I think that I would defer to the law director if there's some kind of an appeal process. That sounds like a legal process, and I'm going to defer to you for that. If you have
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have not heard anything other than what the mayor shared, but I haven't heard anything as far as an appeal. So if there's some kind of appeal process, I mean, it's the Department of Ag, and I don't really have an answer for you. I would assume, and maybe wrongly, but I will assume that if the city was entitled to some kind of notice, that would have been received by the mayor or city administrator.
Let's hope. Mayor.
Yeah, the last notifications only went to the county and the townships because it was outside the city limits. We did not get that notification. We had to rely on other people, giving us that
Aqua
information.
or our wastewater treatment, thing. I think they would like to know.
Yeah, I haven't heard from them at all.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned.
Nice job.
Maybe